Today's episode is going to be a hard one. A hard one in the sense that I'm so heartbroken with the outcome of the match between Nigeria and Congo. It was Nigeria's last opportunity to represent us in the World Cup in 2026 in America, Mexico, and Canada. They were unable to advance to the next stage of the playoffs in order for them to stand a chance of playing in the World Cup. A couple of things came to mind. I've also seen online where a lot of people are angry. A lot of Nigerians are frustrated with that outcome, and one can completely understand with them because Nigeria is a football-loving nation. In a country where nothing is working, in a country that the systems are collapsed, in a country that is highly divided, in a country where the disparity between the rich and the poor is too wide, in a country where there's no leadership, in a country where there's no future really, and the only thing that majority of Nigerians look forward to uniting them is this national team, soccer especially. This national team, whenever they are playing, is when we truly feel that we belong to one nation, and the hopes and aspirations of Nigerians, millions of Nigerians all over the world, was dashed last night because the Nigerian Super Eagles failed to qualify. They were taken out of the playoff by the Congolese national team. Congratulations to the Congolese national team, by the way. But I'm focusing here on Nigeria and the rot in the system. Forgive me. I'm angry. So I'm expressing these views because of how I feel. And I know a lot of people are going to come for me for saying these things about we should be true to each other. And that is another thing, because Nigeria is a nation where if you find yourself on the right side of things, you are considered to be wrong, and you're going to be castigated by a lot of people because the truth is not something that we're used to. We have now normalized a lot of things that to a point where when you speak the truth, people will isolate you. The national team, the Super Eagles was sort of our last hope. These guys over the years, they've managed to unite a lot of Nigerians. Whenever they are playing, we don't care about tribes, we don't care about whatever it is that is going on, be the insecurities, just bad governance and everything that is going on in Nigeria. Majority of us Nigerians don't consider that because we focus more on the outcome of every match because we derive so much joy in watching these guys play. However, when things are not going the way we expect things to go when it comes to soccer in Nigeria, one should be able to understand that that is coming from a point of people who are depressed, people who are oppressed by the system, every system in Nigeria, people who are frustrated, and they look forward to something that will unite them, something that will make them feel like they belong to this nation. In Germany, I want to just give you a few examples. In Germany, at some point, the German Football Federation went through a phase, went through a period where nothing was working for the German national team. So they went back to the drawing board and they say, what can we do to make sure that our football is better? What can we do to make sure that we have a bright future for our nation when it comes to football? Because football obviously unites a lot of people outside also. So they now started building. They went from the grassroots and started building from there to a point where an under-17 game in Germany was attended by over 20,000 people. It was a record actually. 20,000 people went to the stadium to watch just under-17 play in their league. That was when they created, they have their under-18, under-11, under-15, under-17, under-19, under-21s. And the structure was put in place. We started seeing the young players who were playing in these leagues being promoted to the senior teams, various club sides in Germany. And that structure that was put in place by the German Football Federation had a huge benefit to the national team. We started seeing young players. If you remember, we had the likes of Ozil, Thomas Muller. Those players were coming out from the junior team that won the European Junior Championship. And they were coming from there and then being promoted into the national team. And the German football national team became a solid team to be reckoned with in the world, because they started, as a result of that investment, they yielded positive results that the national team was benefiting from. The same with the likes of Portugal, the same with France. England building the same structures. They all have, if you look at all these footballing nations, they all have these structures where they prioritize their grassroots football. And each and every one of these stage, from the under 13 to under 15 to under 17 to under 21, are well taken care of. They make sure that they make provisions for them. In a way, the players now build trust with the national team and with their football association. They build trust with that, and that is huge, because when players build trust with the footballing association, what that translates into is that they can now do their all, give their all. They are not worried about their bonuses not being paid, or even if they get injured, they are not worried about being neglected. In Nigeria, the opposite is the case. From 1993, you agree with me, we had a young team that went to Japan 93. If you remember that, Japan 93, we had solid young players who represented us very well and continued to play. And at some point, we had the likes of Joe Bonfrey. We had the Wester, who was the national team coach then. And that helped us a lot, because we now started building a solid team. We saw ourselves qualifying for the World Cup in 1994 in USA, and the Olympics in USA also we won in 1996, and the France 1998 we went there as well. And you could see that at that point, the football in Nigeria, we saw progress in Nigerian football. However, so many things now crept into that Nigerian football. Instead of seeing the progression, we now saw what is now being tagged as a humiliation, embarrassment to the nation and the entire world when it comes to football. We've seen the rise in corruption. We've seen just the rot in the system that is too much, to a point where it is now affecting the national team. And if you look at the Nigerian junior team that won junior World Cups here and there, you will agree with me that it was as a result of their hunger for success, their hunger for also making a name for themselves at that junior level. Majority of these young boys were taken care of. Some their bonuses were old, some were not, being paid, some were not even given proper meals to eat when they represent their nation, which is Nigeria. Till this day, 2025, we're still having conversations about Nigeria not being able to pay the bonuses of their national team. We're not talking about junior team, we're talking about their national team. These are senior players who are playing in different club sides around the world. They are professionals who know what it entails to represent a club. They are being paid very well. They are being taken care of. The medical teams are on point to make sure that they are okay. But when it comes to Nigeria, which is supposed to be a thing of pride for them, representing their nation, they are being neglected. I'm saying these things because I don't want us to just jump to a point of going straight into blaming the Nigerian players and their performances and why they deprived us of that opportunity of watching them play in the 2026 World Cup in Mexico, America, and Canada. I don't want us to jump into that. We should be able to look at the problem, look at the root of the problem, and be able to address it from there. There is no functioning structure in Nigeria when it comes to soccer. I mean, when it comes to anything anyway. But I don't want to go into the political aspect of the governance and all that. Let's just talk about the footballing aspect of the nation. There's no structure. There's no functioning structure. There's nothing that is working in that nation. And this is the truth. You'll never hear countries like South Africa coming out to say that their players are being owed their bonuses that are not being paid. You will never hear nations that want to build and create a structure that is going to be respected, that is going to be about the progress, that is going to make sure that it unites people. You will never hear these stories emanating from any of these nations. But when it comes to Nigeria, it's almost like it is in our DNA that we're so corrupt to a point where doing the right thing is almost like, no, I can't do it. I can't. People cannot just do the right thing. There's no single... And I'm being careful, right? I'm being careful. I don't want it to sound like my anger will drive me into saying things that I'm not supposed to say, or representing ideas that are contrary to what I'm doing at the moment, But the truth be told, I am not holding the players accountable for this defeat. I'm not holding the coach accountable for all this defeat. I'm holding the Nigerian Football Federation accountable for what transpired. I'm holding them accountable. Because there's nothing... like I mentioned 1993, Japan 1993, when you had the likes of Baba Yaro, Wisin Roman, you had all those players there who represented us very well. You had the 1994 JJ Okocha, Sandolise and Co. You have the 1996, where the likes of Okocha, also Kano and Co. went and they won. And in 2000, we hosted the Nations Cup, which we went to the final. We were defeated by Cameroon. In 2002, we also came third in the Nations Cup as well. And you will agree with me then that from that point, we were supposed to build on that structure. We were supposed to build in a way that any young player who represents us on the junior level is being monitored, is being well taken care of, and we make sure that they graduate from the junior team to the senior team, and then we have solid team. That today will not be a problem, like other footballing nations are doing across the world. But in Nigeria, no. Our selections and I'm talking to you now. I'm talking to you as somebody who also played soccer in Nigeria at some point, right? I might not play it professionally, but I can tell you on the local level the things that were obstacle to a lot of us then back then were the fact that you belong to a certain tribe in Nigeria, and as a result, you are not going to be selected. Even if you are too good, you are not going to be selected. So they has to come from the major tribes in Nigeria. That was something that came out back then, and it's still happening now, because if you look at the national team, more comprised of the 3 big tribes in Nigeria, and any other player, even if no matter how good you are, chances are that you might not make it. And also, one important thing also that is now coming out from some of the retired players was that players were being paid. Players had to pay the coaches or the management, not the coaches, pay the management, the NFF, in order for them to be selected for the national team assignment. So the moment you pay, you don't deserve to be there. Because if you deserve to be there, the selection of the coach will select you automatically without you pay to represent the nation. But that is not the case with Nigeria. In Nigeria, it's who you know. Who do you know? Who do you know? Today young people are crying. Young people are sad with this outcome of the game. And majority of us are going to just carry on like nothing happens. And that is another thing also that is happening in that nation that is so heartbreaking, is that we have accepted our fate to a point where everything that is not functioning, we just accept it and we move on. That is, and I hate to say this. You're not going to pray your way out of the things that were created by man or you yourself. These things has nothing to do with spirituality. The nations out there that are putting systems that are functioning, that people are benefiting from. Our players in Nigeria leave in Nigeria to go to Europe, go everywhere in the world to go and play and enjoy the benefits of these structures. These people put these things in place. They were not praying their way to it. They put the structures. It was hard work. It was about planning, proper planning. And today, a lot of us are enjoying. We watch them, we watch the Premier League, we watch all these things. Look at another thing also that it is a factor to why these guys are failing on the national level is our local leagues in Nigeria. Look at the local league in Nigeria. Look how embarrassing that league is. Look at how if you look at the payment, if you look at how much these guys are being paid, if you look at the infrastructures in Nigeria, you can't help but shed tears for that nation. We have 36 states, that is excluding the FCT, which is the capital of Nigeria. In each and every state, we are supposed to have an international standard stadium. We're supposed to have facilities in each and every state. Every province in Nigeria is supposed to have a stadium, an infrastructure that when you look at, you will say, yes, this is what we're talking about. But we don't have it. We don't have it. Nigeria is the only nation where, and this thing that is happening with the football national team, don't just look at it as just soccer. Oh yeah, that is just soccer. No, it's happening everywhere. Nigeria is the only country where, I might be wrong there. Maybe it's not the only country, but I am talking about what I know. If you look at Nigeria, where people will work for 6 months, a year, 2 years are not being paid. Who does that? Who does that? Who does that? And when you express these views, people look at, hey, we're not, one thing that we lack in this nation is patriotism. People are not being patriotic. People are not being that. Please, let us be sincere with ourselves. Nothing is functioning. And that, when at the top, if things are not flowing right at the top, right, it will affect Those down there, that is what is happening in Nigeria. Nothing is being done right in Nigeria. Nothing is being done in that country. And the only hope, the only thing that is giving us joy in Nigeria is the Nigerian football national team. But today, some of these aspirations are being shattered because there is a corrupt system. There's a system that is not functioning. You know, we appoint people based on who we know, where you're from. You know, it's not based on experience. We have a lot of ex-footballers who are supposed to be running the affairs of football in Nigeria. But now they're not being given the opportunity, because if they are given the opportunity, they will bring the experience into it and they will do the right thing. And that is what I'm saying. You don't do anything right in Nigeria, because if you're doing something right, a lot of people are going to come for you. They don't believe in that. They do not believe in doing the right thing in that nation. So, Nigeria is not going to the World Cup in 2026. You know, we'll just have to go and support other national teams. We just have to, I mean, kudos to the Nigerian players. They tried, they gave their all. You know, they went into penalties and they were unable to advance to the next stage of that playoff. But this is shameful. It is shameful, really. We failed to qualify in the last World Cup. The previous World Cup, we failed to qualify. This one, again, we're not going to go. This was our golden opportunity. Having quality players. One of the most informed striker on the continent is a Nigerian. The person of Osimhen, who is playing for Galatasaray. He's scoring a lot of goals in the UEFA Champions League and in the domestic league as well. He's doing very well for himself. And we have quality players that are playing in English Premier League, German League, Italian League. They're playing in Spanish League. We have them everywhere. So, and they are young. There's age on their side. And this was an opportunity in order for them to be able to showcase that talent in USA in 2026. You know, so that is the painful part of it as well. But when a thing like this happens, if it were a nation that is organized, a nation that it's sane, let me use that word, man. A nation that is normal, they were going to go back to the drawing board and say, how can we restructure Nigerian football going forward to make sure that we don't experience this level of humiliation again. But knowing Nigeria too well, it's just going to be a deja vu. This was just another, we're expecting it. This was just the way it's going to be. We're going to carry on like nothing happens, you know, and we'll continue eating with our family members at the expense of millions of Nigerians out there, you know. So this is hard. So hard to take, but what can we do? What can we do? Do not ever make that mistake of thinking that God is coming to save Nigeria. I'm so sorry. I believe so much in God. There's nothing that I would do without God, you know. But the truth of the matter is that God has given us the opportunity and powers to change situations here on earth. And if we are being demonic about things and leaving it in the hands of God, is not going to work. You cannot pray your way out of this one, because Nigeria is a praying nation. We all know that. But you don't pray your way out of bad governance. You don't pray your way out of corruption. You don't pray your way out of the things that are dividing us in that nation at the moment. You don't. You don't do it. Look, copy the other nations, what they are doing. When people are incompetent in their jobs, you fire them. You get the best to implement ideas that will transform a sector to what you want it to be and to the benefit of the people. You don't go and pray about it. You don't go and pray about it. You implement, you stand up and you say, this is what I want to happen, and you do it. Like we're seeing other people. England, they're doing it. In Germany, they did it. It worked for them. In France, they did it. Look at that France. After France 1998, they won the World Cup. In 2006, they went to the World Cup. In the final, they lost. Look at what happened in the France. They had quality players, no doubt. And they were going close and close and close. They're not winning it until they discovered what the issues were. And they were able to rectify those mistakes. And they won the World Cup 2018. You know, that's how you see nations that want to do something serious. Nations that want to build. We must go back to the, and it's difficult because somebody was saying to me that, is it possible for you to change things in Nigeria? It's not possible. I am so sorry. This is soccer. I'm not supposed to be talking about this, right? Like I said, I'm talking from a fan point of view, from somebody who's frustrated, from somebody who's angry with the outcome of last night's game. You know, we were not expecting Nigerians not to. At least if you had advanced to the other stage of the playoff and then get beaten by another team, how that we understand. We're beaten by Congo. Yes, we're beaten by Congo. Check the Congolese players that beat Nigerian players. And you understand where I'm coming from. So this is deep. This is so deep. Are we going to learn from this and do things better? Well, it is left for us to decide as a nation. And knowing the nation too well, I'm sorry, I'm not being negative, but I don't think anything good is going to come out of it because we're too divided. We are too divided as a nation. Nigeria is too divided. We are too divided. You know, if you've ever worked with Nigerians from different tribes, you understand what I'm talking to you about. We are too divided. We don't trust each other, especially if we don't come from the same place. We don't, you know. So a lot of people and a lot of people were expecting, what is your take on the Nigerian-Congo match? You know, and some would be expecting you to come out and then start, you know, ranting about the players. No, I know what the problem of Nigerian national team is. The problem of Nigerian national team is corruption. Number one, that is the most important thing. Lack of vision, you know. So what is happening to the Nigerian football national team? And not the national team as the players. We're talking about now the structure. There is no structure. The Bible says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? The foundation of Nigerian football is destroyed. There's nothing the players can do. Because the players, remember, are operating on the template. And the template of what is on ground already. And what is on ground is about corruption, you know. It's about the disunity that is there. So you can see what is happening around is what is affecting the national team. So I analyze and I look at it critically, and I say to myself, you know what? The players gave their all. I'm not going to blame them. What is happening in Nigeria is a sorry story for a lot of us who are Nigerians. So if things are to be transformed for the better, there are steps that need to be taken. You know, go to the grassroots and start building from there. Make the local league attractive to a lot of people. You know, I understand they're going to complain here that we're not getting sponsors, we're not getting enough money. But the money, the little you are getting, what are you doing with it? You share it among yourselves. You know, so it's not affecting the national team. The junior team, we have a solid junior teams that we play. We go far in competitions, and then once they come, that is the end of that national junior team. There's no proper nurturing of these kids to make sure that they now graduate into the national team that is going to give us something that we'll be proud of. Some would just neglect them. A player representing you comes, get injured, and then that's it. He goes back. The club side will go and treat him. Tell me, will that player now leave the club side that is paying and taking care of him to come and represent you when you cannot do anything for them? When you cannot do anything? No, they're not going to do that. They will focus on where their bread is coming from. And that we see that nowadays the players don't have the zeal to represent the nation. Because sitting there or going there to play and represent Nigeria now is becoming like a curse. It's a curse, actually. It is a curse representing Nigeria at the moment. And I'm telling you this, I'm saying these things because this is the truth. The Nigerian football is suffering. And until we stand up and we restructure it, we need to revamp the entire system. Then we'll be able to start getting, hopefully we'll start getting the best. But we shouldn't expect the result to come maybe in 2, 3, 4 years. No, it's going to be a building process. And that process of building, we should all be patient with the national team. We should all be patient with that. But I'm saying it, we're not going to build. I know. Look, I know Nigeria. I know Nigerians. And I know those who are in authority. And I know how demonic they are. And I know they're not going to change anything. This is the truth. If you say otherwise, you'll be lying to yourself. But the truth of the matter is that they're not going to change Nigerian football anytime soon. They're not going to change it. If you bring $10 million today and say, we want to invest in the grassroots football in Nigeria, I guarantee you this, a lot of people are going to be killed for that money. And they're going to take it. And they will do nothing for that football. And we will continue where we are. You know? I don't know. I don't know what is happening, but that nation, like I say, prayers are not going to change it. Let nobody deceive you. I'm so sorry to say this, and I'm so sorry to a lot of people who are going to get hurt, who are going to think that what this guy is saying is nonsense. Stop thinking that prayers are going to be the what is going to save Nigeria. When you see a system that is built based on demonic operation, a system that is built with corruption, a system that is deeply rooted in rot, and then you want to go and pray it out. No. You stand up and you do something about it. The football is not good, you change it. It's not about coaches. It gets to a point where you need a coach that will build a team. This is about the structure. This is about the rot in the system of NFF. In order for you to change it, we are going to be patient. We're going to do 1, 2, 3. And you need a leader who will come and say, here, you go. We don't need you. Bring in professional footballers. Nigeria have a lot of ex-footballers who are well experienced, well traveled, who benefited from a functioning system and also from a system that is not functioning. So if you bring them from outside and say, here is Nigerian Football Federation. What can we do to change things here? They understood how some of the grassroots football in Europe and everywhere they were playing, how the systems were structured. They will implement these ideas. But you know why? We know that these guys are there, and we know they have the experiences, and we know they can do it. But guess what? We're not going to call them because we don't know how to do the right thing. We don't know. This is the truth. We don't know. And then we continue to still hate these people. We continue to, look at them and think that they are going to be, there's a savior somewhere that is going to come and save the rot that is happening in Nigeria. They are not going to get it anywhere. Especially in the footballing world, you're not going to get it. They are there to eat from the national cake. That is what they're there for. That is what they are trained for. It's almost like they're going to school for corruption. They go to school for it. It's how it is. How can people play for you, represent you as a national team for so many years, and you will refuse to pay them? You will refuse to pay them. To a point, these guys, they had to boycott the national team. Wasn't that an embarrassment enough? Wasn't that embarrassing enough that these guys will have to boycott training for you to pay them? And it has nothing to do with the money, because majority of these players They have a lot of money. They are doing very well for themselves. But it's about the principle. It's about doing something right for once. And we cannot do it. We cannot do it. So I'm not going to blame the players. The players gave their all. They played very well for the national team. They tried their best to go back to their club sites, enjoy their football, enjoy their money, take care of their families. That is all that matters. The millions of Nigerians that are going to suffer as a result of this outcome, we hopefully get over it. They will rant here and there, we get over it. That is what the nation will always make you to believe, that when you rant out, they'll be fine. Nothing is going to change. When you want a system to change you just cry, you complain about it tomorrow. The same demonic people continue to oppress and continue to be in power, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing that you're going to do about it. Nobody is going to change the situation for you. No one is coming to save you. There's no savior somewhere that is coming to save you as a Nigerian. Except we stand up for ourselves and we start saying enough is enough. If it means that we have to protest against the football federation in Nigeria, we should do that and let these people be changed. Do they have the experience that is needed to run the Nigerian football? No, they don't. Majority of them, I bet you, I can tell you they don't. They don't. Most of them don't have. But those who have the experience are being kept out because they will come in and then implement right things. And we are allergic to doing right. All right. Nigeria lost. It is painful, but the truth. They lost, and they're not going to the World Cup in 2026 in America, Canada, and Mexico. That would have actually been a good thing, to have Nigerian national team play in the World Cup in 2026. But the rot in the system prevented us from doing so. You had 3 coaches in the qualifiers. In order for us to qualify to the World Cup, we had 3 coaches. Isn't that a shameful thing? Who does that? We're in a group with South Africa, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, and Benin Republic, and we failed to qualify. It's just a shameful thing that we have to go and play qualifiers after playing in a group like that. We were unable to get something, and today. So I saw this coming. Not that I wished for bad things to happen, but in a collapsed system, you don't expect anything good to come out of there, and you don't, like I always say, I'm emphasizing on the issue of prayers because we have been praying and it's not working. We've been praying the prayers that we're praying, that we are supposed to be praying for ourselves. We're taking it to pray for a nation that is a hair bent on destroying its people. So we should just stop doing those things of saying we should pray for Nigeria. Nigeria will never be okay if we, the people, cannot stand up and do the right thing. You cannot do evil at night and then pray in the morning for good things to happen. It's not going to happen. That is not the way things work. We should be able to. The things that we want to happen in that country, let us do it. And it starts with me. I do the right thing, you do the right thing. And the system becomes a perfect one. Other than that, we miss out on the World Cup, and it's painful. It is very painful. I'm sad about it, but here we are. We'll continue again. And I don't know about you, but I'll be supporting all the teams that are representing us on the African continent, South Africa, Ghana, all these teams that are going to be representing us. I will be supporting them. I want the best for them. Nigeria failed to qualify. It wasn't anybody's fault that they failed. It's a system, and like I'm saying, the players, credit to you guys for giving your all for the national team. You'll continue to do your all and give your all, continue to do your best and give your all for the national team. But the system is clearly failing each and every one of us, not just you, the players. It's failing us, the supporters as well. We are being let down by the system in Nigeria. And hopefully one day we're going to be able to get the right people to come in and save the system and put structures in place that will give us a face that is different from what we're having right now. All right, until I come your way again, As always, stay blessed.